Hi, everybody. Okay. Well, I still haven't figured out how to see comments. There's a question box here, so if you drop any questions, then maybe I'll see them, but I'm not sure. But that's okay. I have 7 pages of questions on the problem solver to get through today. And as I was reading through everything that all of you submitted and asked about this incredible formula, I was just thinking that it's just a shame that you all can't just join me in my bathroom for every single one of these conversations, because I really don't know how to talk about any of these products without really showing you them on my skin. And I feel like that's where so many of the questions come up, is about application, is about how to get over the intimidation factor of bringing in something new to your ritual and to your skin. And so many of you found us because you're like me, where maybe your skin is a little sensitive, or maybe it's finicky and reacts to everything, or you've tried 5 billion things on the planet and bringing in something new is maybe just a tired idea too, as well as intimidating. And the problem solver is just the most special thing that I think that I could share. And it definitely has a hurdle in terms of use. And I know that. This is the formula that almost didn't make it to the collection for a number of reasons. It's messy. It's not the most intuitive to mix. It can be intense for those with sensitive skin, or those who have any kind of pain in their skin. And it's also who it helps the most. So I fought with myself about this one quite a bit, and it's a formula it's the oldest actually from the collection. The problem solver existed as a treatment for my bespoke clients before I launched the Lindstrom skin collection for retail. And I almost didn't share it because I thought, who is going to buy this off of a shelf and know what to do when they get home with this mysterious powder? And if it feels tingly or hot, crazy on the skin, will I just have everybody being mad at me or being scared, which is the last thing that I want for anybody in their skin. Luckily, formula wins out for me. I am results first, as much as I talk about sensory, as much as I talk about what things feel like and smell like and the textures and all of that, which is wonderful. My background as a formulator is really about what works. And my demographic has always been people who came from the most challenged skin situations. And when I saw what the problem solver could do for people like me, whose skin was red, it was irritated, it broke out, it got rashes, the psoriasis, dermatitis, rosacea, all of that. These are the people who were so scared of trying any kind of treatment, anything that felt active on the skin, anything that was not the most simple blah product out there. And then they would try the problem solver, and overnight they would see a difference. And in a week, a whole different level of transformation. In a month, in a year, consistency was so important, but I could measure it, I could see it. And luckily, the problem solver came to be a part of this collection in its full strength format. I didn't dumb it down for you. It is as powerful as it was when I first started using it, over 15 years ago now. And the problem solver has been a part of my own personal ritual for just as long. So probably about twice a week for almost 15 years. This has been a part of my personal care. So I've got a ton of questions. I'm going to start to go through them There's a lot, but I think that they're important, and maybe more importantly, I am going to actually show you how to mix and how to get this on your skin, what it really looks like, so that we can get over any intimidation factor of that big heavy jar full of powder. What do you do with that? So I'll start off here with some general questions. Someone asks, is it for all skin types? Yes, really, really yes. And it's always the first thing that I tell people who have any kind of acne, any kind of congestion, hyperpigmentation. That's an obvious one. Acne, the problem solver, they go together like the most perfect marriage. But where people tend to be surprised is that the problem solver is also my absolute favorite thing for any kinds of redness, irritation, itchiness, reactivity, just the discomfort that happens in the skin. So there's this surface thing that happens when you mask with the problem solver, where all of these warming herbs and spices get the blood flowing, get everything moving, everything pinks up and gets all lively. And the manual feeling of the exfoliation as you apply it, as you rinse it, that certainly sheds all the dead skin and clears all that out. You can feel it from the very first use. But bigger than that is what the actual properties of the herbs are doing. So along with all these vibrant, life-giving spices that make everything feel all warm, there's also gotu-kola and marshmallow and really beautiful, calming, healing, soothing herbs in there too. And they all play different parts. And then we mix that with activated bamboo charcoal, which just gets all of the crud out of your skin, all of the environmental debris, pollution, everything that's settled in the air, that just gets knocked out. And an array of salts, these really gorgeous red Alea sea salts that are just infused with all kinds of rich vitamins and minerals, and feed all that into your skin. And it feels like when you go on a vacation and you swim in the ocean is what those salts bring. Just clears everything out in the most gentle, effective way. So the ingredients themselves are gorgeous. I could talk all day about them, but it's really not my favorite thing to share live. So go to lindstrom.com and our ingredients page, and you can go in depth, every single ingredient in this formula and in every formula. We tell you the full story, why it's there and why we love it. How long does it take to see changes in your skin? This is my favorite, because from the very first use, you're going to see a change with the problem solver. And over time, what you're going to see is what goes beyond that initial fresh exfoliation, fresh glow, fresh treatment phase, and into just actually better, healthier, stronger, more supported skin. And that takes time. So that, I always tell people, if you can bring in the problem solver once a week, you're going to see a significant difference in the health of your complexion. And if you can make that 2 or 3 times a week consistently, oh, it's going to be so good. It's just going to be so good. The more consistent you are, the better. Sometimes people ask, well, if it's good, 2 or 3 times a week, better than 1 time a week, what if I do it every day? How is that? And with that, I actually say it's important to give your skin rest between treatments. So fill it up, fuel it up, feed it with all the good stuff, and then having at least a day between each treatment is great. So your skin can resettle, all your oils maintain their natural balance levels, and it also leaves room for those cushy, more gentle, nourishing, moisture-infused treatments, and to mix it up with things like the honey mud or just a really simple night of maybe just the blue cocoon and lots of massage. So treatments are great, but you really don't have to overdo them. So aim for 1 to 3 times a week with the problem solver consistently. Change your timing as you see how this does for your skin, whatever else you're using in your ritual. And if you ever have questions about how to put that together, how to incorporate the problem solver treatment nights with other treatments that you might have lined up in your ritual, connect with us at care@Lindstrom.com so we can really give you the best, most personalized attention there. Okay. I'm going to skip this part until we're in there. Someone asked, can it cause purging? And has anyone reported breakouts from the problem solver? So much depends on your individual skin, what you have going on. If you have the kind of skin that is moving through stuff all the time and you're prone to purging, you're prone to breakouts, things are just trying to move out, then yes, it can bring things up. It can help to cycle that out. And that can be a great thing. That's also where you start to find out where your personal frequency comes in. For me, if I'm only masking once a week, what I find is that that's enough for me to start moving things out, but not to clear it all away. And so that's fine if I'm following a problem solver night with the clean dirt the following morning, or if I'm alternating those two, or incorporating something else to keep things moving through. But if I'm just super light and super gentle all week long and I'm only doing the blue cocoon, maybe I'm not even washing all the way, my skin is sensitive, so maybe I've just had some nights of just rinsing and just boils, I'm going to need the problem solver more often when that's happening. But if it's a week where I'm doing the clean dirt regularly, I've got the pendulum potion in there, I've got some steamy cloth nights, I have more of an active week, then I can do less of the problem solver. For me personally, twice a week is my ideal. If I have other things flaring up, or something I'm particularly trying to move through, or if I'm going to be doing something in person and I want to look especially glowy, then I'll add a third day where I can. Once is for maintenance, twice is ideal, 3 times if I'm really on it, for me. So start with once, go up to 3 times, see what it looks like for you. And then with purging, if there's something there that wants to move out, help it move out. There's a difference between breaking out and having things cycle through. And it's really individual. It's incredibly personal why that's happening, what other products you're using, how that will affect it, how other things inside and outside of your body will affect it. So reach out to us directly to talk about your skin. Someone asks, I'm on Tret and it stings when I use it. No barrier damage at all. Should I discontinue for the time being? No, heat is normal. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit further in. If your skin barrier is healthy and you're using Tret and everything else is good, feeling some tingling, feeling some heat, feeling some flushing, feeling some redness, even feeling a little burn with the problem solver is normal. It's a little bit like this. If you go for a spicy Mexican dinner with a group of your friends, some of you are going to eat this meal and it's going to be too hot for you. You're going to be reaching for horchata, you're going to be drinking water, you're not going to want to add any extra hot sauce. And then there will be a handful of people at the table who won't feel a thing, they're dosing on the extra hot sauce. It's all the same. The feeling sensations in your skin are different between people, and it can also change depending on what's going on with you. For example, if I use the problem solver after my skin has been stressed, let's say I've been traveling, I've been flying, my skin is dry, maybe I've been out in the weather exposed, I've had more sun exposure, more wind exposure, more cold, maybe there's been heaters on or air conditioning on. If I've been stressed, definitely if I've been crying, if I have been doing anything that will stimulate my body, where I am in my cycle, if I've taken a bath, if I've drank any alcohol, all of these things play into how you will experience the problem solver. And I know that sometimes seems like a far road to get from one experience to the other, but you'll see, you'll use the problem solver 1 week and you won't feel a thing. It'll just feel like cool mud on your face. and the next treatment might feel burning hot. And so look at that. Look at what else is happening in your day, what else is happening in your body, what else is happening in your environment. That heat, especially around the more sensitive areas, this time of the year, I'm blowing my nose a lot more. And so the tissues around this area are more delicate. And so when I'm doing the problem solver and that's getting in those areas, I'm feeling more heat. And so somebody wrote that specifically. Is it okay to feel sensitivity on my upper lip after using? I don't experience it anywhere else. Yes. And if you feel heat everywhere, it's fine. If you feel heat never, it's fine. We just feel spices differently. How I feel it, how you feel it, it's not going to be the same thing. And what's important is that after you rinse, you're going to see that your skin is pinked up and a little flushed, but in an hour, you'll see that it will be calmer and clearer and less red than it was pre-treatment. That's what you want to see. So unless you're seeing lasting effects or lasting pain or a flare-up in direct relationship that exceeds beyond the treatment time, you're doing great. This is where you breathe and you just stay there in your skin and in your sensations. And if you're feeling all of that warmth and tingle, maybe go inside and just be with it. And if you're not feeling that, that's okay too. We get just as many people asking us about why they're not feeling the heat from the problem solver. So don't be scared and don't be nervous, hot or not. It's doing what it's supposed to do. This person writes, I reached out to the Care Bears and they gave me great ideas because I've found I don't like leaving this on as the mask. I would love to know other ways to incorporate the problem solver into a routine, if not as a mask. That's an interesting one because I really do want you to use it as a mask. I think about the problem solver similar to applying an herbal pack. And when I created this formula, that's really what I was thinking about. That's the whole point of this particular cornucopia of fresh herbs and spices. What those do when they have time to actually sit in their hydrated, powerful, vibrant form directly on your skin is where the results happen. And so you can use it in the most topical way, which would be to apply it. You could then just massage it in the shower, treat it more like an exfoliator. Also, if you do that, it will feel hot. If you are massaging this into your skin actively, you're going to increase the heat sensations. Again, this is fine, but just know that that can happen. And so prepare yourself, and then don't be disappointed if it's not hot for you too. But really, the power comes from leaving it on. So on the box, I had to dictate a time. And so I think I put on there, leave 30 minutes or until fully dry. And depending on how you mix this, and I will show you how I mix it, I like to make it really nice and thick. And it's because when you do that, it really just envelops your skin and creates this like pulsing heat concentration of all of the energy right there. And when that stays, when your skin can stay in this state where all of the blood and oxygen is focused in this one area for an extended amount of time, you just get the most incredible result. If you try to make that a 30-second moment where you're just, forcing off the dead skin, then that's fine. It will do that piece, but you're going to get much deeper benefit if you apply this as a mask, if you leave it for at least 30 minutes until it's fully dry. Also, you don't have to let it dry. There's some people who prefer to have it never dry. You can mist it with the jasmine garden throughout. You can dip your hands in warm water and just press over to keep it hydrated. You can mist with anything that you like to keep it wet. You can also mix it with a number of things. So I'll talk about that when we're further in. Mature skin. if I have really good skin, thanks for that, by the way, May, how often should I be using this? No acne, just generally looking to age as slowly as possible. Well, you're all cute when you do the anti-aging thing because you know that's not where I go. But for maturing skin, for sensitive skin, for dry skin, for anyone who needs to really protect and nourish this outer barrier, the problem solver is for you too. It's so wonderfully nourishing, and it does the most incredible job just keeping the surface of your skin feeling healthy. And that's important because it really allows all of your oils and moisturizers and balms and all of the hydrating elements of your routine to absorb into your skin so much better. And so products like the Problem Solver and the Clean Dirt, they're there not just for what they bring in through their own ingredients, through their own function, but they're also there to make everything else within your ritual work together. It's a dance. That's why if I could only give people two things on the planet for their skin, I would probably give them the Blue Cocoon and the Problem Solver, because those two together balance each other out. If you only had something like the Blue Cocoon forever, that's fine. It's going to be all hydrated. You're not going to dry out. But over a while, you also won't be able to penetrate that barrier. You have to keep the dead cells circulating and clearing. And if you can do that while also packing in all this incredible nutrition from these plants and herbs and minerals it's just the most beautiful way that I have to treat the skin. I love masks. I think they're so, so important and so effective. Is it too drying for mature skin? No, for all those same reasons. What it's doing is actually infusing you with all this fresh blood, all this fresh oxygen, all this fresh energy that is so wonderful for maturing skin. What happens with maturing skin is that everything just starts to go sleepy. There, you lose the energy, you lose the vibrancy, you lose the tone, you lose the flexibility, you lose the elasticity. And what the Problem Solver does, what massage does, what these kinds of herbs and fresh ingredients do is they bring that life and that nutrition back in. And especially with blood flow, just anything that can get your blood going as you age is going to bring back that life in the skin that you're looking for. So don't stress about that. While the Problem Solver is a clay mask and it does go from wet to dry, it is not drying. The actual ingredients in it are still providing that nourishment and that hydration, even as it treats. That's where the marshmallow comes into play. Marshmallow is just one of my absolute favorites ever. And using something like marshmallow alongside these powerful, spicier elements is just such a beautiful synergy. Waking everything up, but then also keeping it really, really calm and nourishing in the process. Rosacea, eczema, dermatitis. These are great. Okay. Oh yes, related, somebody asked, it never feels warming on my skin, always cooling and soothing. Why? Same thing. There's just not everybody feels that spice sensation. I actually find that pretty fascinating. And if you can ever do this with a group of friends, a group of relatives, just skincare buddies, find some people to do treatments with, because it's so interesting to see what happens when we do this in community and see what questions come up for different people and what experiences we're having of the same treatments. We used to do, and will again, do these intimate rituals events where we'd gather a group of people, 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, and we'd have you around essentially a dinner table, and instead of eating soups, we're making masks and applying things. And one of my favorite parts was always when we would do the Problem Solver, because there inevitably always be people there who owned the Problem Solver and never used it because they were intimidated by it, or they'd used it before, had it be really hot, and then got nervous. And so doing this as a group, having multiple people all at the same time, putting it on, talking about the sensations that they were feeling, and then rinsing, and then everybody getting to see everybody's glorious, glowing, gorgeous faces to follow with no redness in sight. Everybody was always surprised by how just beautiful their skin looked following a treatment without anything else. So don't be scared of intensity. I didn't dumb this down on purpose. So don't be scared, just get in there. Okay. Is this okay to use during an eczema flare-up? And similarly, can people with perioral dermatitis use this? Yes, so much yes to this. In fact, my perioral dermatitis is what first inspired this formula, and working with herbs in an herbal pack kind of way, which is really all I'm doing in making a mask. It's the same thing. I'm making a pack, putting it on, trying to leave it on as long as I can so you get the benefits from all those herbs. What I've seen with conditions like rosacea and dermatitis is, one, the sloughing off of the dead cells. So that helps immensely in just keeping things regulating. And then beyond that, helping with the assimilation and absorption of all of your moisturizers, and then the plant compounds themselves, what they do to bring down any kind of irritation, any kind of inflammation, the itchiness and discomfort that goes with things like this. Also all the flushing. I found that when I can bring on flushing regularly through treatment masks, through massage, through breath work, through movement, when you get your body used to circulating blood, it starts to function better as a blood circulator. And I see the softening of these symptoms of the flushing that's associated with rosacea and dermatitis, eczema, and so on. What about milia in the problem solver? So milia happens when the dead skin cells don't slough away, and they get caught under the skin, they harden, and they form these miliums. And so consistent, gentle exfoliation is really helpful. For this specifically, I actually really like to incorporate the honey mud as well, because it has the salicylic acid in there, the natural salicylic acid from wintergreen, which is really, really incredible. So I'll actually show you how to do that blend when I'm doing the blends here in a bit. But yes, the problem solver is incredible for milia, especially paired with the honey mud. Put both of those together. I don't have a specific contraindication for the problem solver unless you are extremely broken out, active, open sores on your skin. And even then, I want to talk to you about what's going on there, because it can be effective. It can also be painful. And so I would want to work with you directly to address those more severe skin situations. So again, care@lindstrom.com. Anytime, if you are somebody who wants direct care, we are here for you. It's what we do. So don't be scared of that either. Someone asks, how does the problem solver do with melasma? And I would say that the problem solver really helps to regulate and support healthy cells, which can counter the factors that contribute to melasma, which can be everything from genetics to changes in your hormonal system, sun exposure, skin irritation that leads to damage. All of those things can contribute to melasma. So another one that's really personal, depending on what your contributing factors are, how your symptoms are appearing, how long they've been there, what are the things you've tried. So get in touch with us and let us know how we can support you. Can the problem solver be used as a spot treatment? And what's the best thing for blackheads on the nose? Oh yeah, the problem solver for blackheads is fantastic. And if you have blackheads, you're probably in the 2 to 3 times a week camp. So try that. And then a spot treatment, absolutely. So it can be as simple as, mixing a little bit of powder in your palm with a little bit of the Youth Dew or the Blue Cocoon, or just the Jasmine Garden. Well, let me talk about that for a second. So that's probably unexpected. So the Problem Solver can be used as a spot treatment by itself, just mixing the Problem Solver, activating it with a little bit of water. You can make in little opaque paste just in the little palm of your hand. You don't need very much. I can show you what that looks like. So to do a spot treatment, here, I'll make this really easy. I can use my little dandelion wand and scoop up as much powder as I would need for a spot treatment, and it doesn't have to be very much, just a little bit. It's just so I get something there in the palm like that. And then I'm going to use the Jasmine Garden to mix with it. This makes it extra great for whatever you might be treating, whether it's your sensitivity or breakout. So you see that'll just come together, and you want it to be opaque like that. Okay, so when you apply it as a spot treatment, you still would want it to be opaque. You don't want it to be thin. Sometimes I see people and it's just like that. You don't want that. You want this. So even for a spot treat, nice and rich and opaque. Okay, so if this was on your skin, let's say I had a spot coming up here or some congestion here, you would just apply it, and you want that to be like that, okay? And alternatively, if I've got a bowl of water here because we're not in my bathroom. So alternatively, as a spot treatment, you could tailor it more based on what your skin needs. So if you have, let's say, a breakout that is coming to a head, it's an active pimple, maybe it's starting to open, or you can see the pus inside, or maybe you're just feeling oily and congested, that kind of breakout, I would actually use the Youth Dew. So I'd use just a tiny bit of the Youth Dew. That's probably more than I needed. I'll put this on my chest instead. Okay, so a little bit of Youth Dew in my palm, and a little bit of the Problem Solver there with it. And again, a little bit of the Jasmine Garden, or you could use water here just to activate it. And that does the same thing. You're making this opaque kind of paste, but with the Youth Dew, what it'll do is it will address the inflammation, it'll address the active breakout without drying, without adding any drying factors. And so you're getting all the benefits from the Youth Dew while treating with the Problem Solver. So let's just say I've got another spot there. So you've got that one. And same thing, you could make a spot treatment with the Blue Cocoon, and you would just use a tiny bit. And I would use the Blue Cocoon when it is a breakout that is inflamed, that's painful, that's under the skin, that's red, that feels as irritated as anything, but definitely anything painful is the purpose there. So same thing, you could take just a little bit, you don't need very much, just a little bit of the Blue Cocoon, and you could mix that in with the Problem Solver. And again, use that to spot treat as needed. All right, so I've got those there. And maybe we'll just mix and put the mask on my face so I'm not hanging out with 3 random spots, but a whole face full of mud instead. questions. So, maybe I'll answer these first. Okay, so something important to talk about, just so I don't forget. I'm going to show you how to mix the problem solver, and then I'm going to show you how to add the honey mud to it too. When you're doing it with the honey mud added, the honey mud has the salicylic acid in it. So it will amplify the experience of everything. So just know that. If you're blending things together, I'm going to show you things in this video. If you have questions about them, I do still want you to reach out. I never want people to be intimidated by playing and by just like getting in there and trying things and feeling what feels good. But I also know that that is scary and that's not the right entry point for everybody. So I wanted today to be fun and playful, so you can see how not in the box you have to stay. But I also don't want you to just go to town and overwork your skin. So let's just do this. The bowl, the brush. I'm going to talk about these for just a moment before I mix with them. You're going to see the difference actually when I mix. People ask, do I need the bowl and the brush? And of course not. Of course you don't. You can use a bowl from your kitchen. You can use a flat foundation brush. You could just use a bowl and a spoon. I will tell you that if you find mixing masks on your own to be intimidating, then get the tools, because they really do make it so much easier, so much cleaner. And I'll just show you why that is. So first, aren't these beautiful? I just wanted to show you this. That's real gold in the bottom of this bowl. And each one of these is individually made. They're dipped. They all have this great little drip. There's such beautiful little textures. And they're all made for us by my friend Melissa Brown, who has been making these ceramics for us for over a decade now. I first found her on Etsy a million years ago and fell in love with her, and she's been with us ever since. So these are very special to me. I use them for everything. You can serve food in them, put little soups, drink wine out of here is really pretty. Red wine, you get surprised by the dandelion in the bottom. But how this works for your skincare is the shape is actually really important. So what I have here is a 1/2 tablespoon measuring spoon. And that's the amount that I like to use for a standard portion for my face and down the main part of my neck. If I want to do a more full treatment down into the chest area, I would do a full teaspoon or a full tablespoon, not teaspoon, sorry. This is a 1/2 tablespoon, and a more generous would be a full tablespoon. You can also treat your entire back or other body parts as needed. I don't like to use less than this. There are 3 teaspoons and a tablespoon. This is half of a tablespoon, so it's like 1.5 teaspoons, which I think is a good amount. I wouldn't use less than a teaspoon. If you use less than a teaspoon, you're just not going to get the same consistency. So there we go. I've got a 1/2 tablespoon in the bottom here, and then I'm going to add equal parts water. So I always encourage using a measuring spoon. And pick your size. If you only want to use a teaspoon, fine. But use 1 teaspoon powder and 1 teaspoon water. If you're using a tablespoon, use 1 tablespoon, 1 tablespoon. I like to do a 1/2 tablespoon, so it's a 1/2 tablespoon, 1/2 tablespoon. And then when it comes together, I want you to see actually how fast this is and how easy it is. The curves of this bowl are why it's less messy. This curved shape keeps the powder from flying out and around the room and into your nose. It's normal for you to sneeze while you're mixing the problem solver. I want you to see how this is starting to come together. It starts to turn into this mousse, and It might look for a second like you need to add more water. You don't. Okay, so it's in there, and I've got it all incorporated. And there we go. You see that? It's airy, it's fluffy, it's rich. I'm going to show you this consistency. You can actually hear that, the fizz. So that's what you're looking for. If you're getting less than that, probably you're not using enough powder or you're adding too much water. So use a measuring spoon, get the bowl and the brush if you can. It's a really great present for yourself. It'll make everything so much easier and cleaner and prettier and feels good. Okay, I have a clean face outside of these lovely spots. So I'm just gonna go right over my skin. Clean skin is important. Some of you wrote in that you have a hard time removing the problem solver and that you're ending up with kind of a gray film on your skin after rinsing. That is often because you're not starting with clean skin. If you're starting with the oils of the day still on your skin, or if you have oils on your skin left over from your cleansing ritual, or if you have hydrated after, what's going to happen is that the charcoal is going to bond with those oils and create a light stain. So start with clean skin, rinse in the shower, and you won't have that issue. If you do, reach out to us. Let us know. We'll look at it, and I'm sure we'll be able to tell you why. So I'm just going to go right in. I've got this here, and I like to get a good amount on my brush and go in sections. So I just get it onto the main part first. There we go. And then fill it in. Also, did you see it only took a few seconds to mix that up into this beautiful mousse texture? And I like to go around the nose area. This area right here is where my PD shows up. And I find that when I do the problem solver consistently, in those areas especially, that my flare-ups are much less severe, and they clear a lot faster. So for those of you who do have PD or do have other rashy, inflammatory, itchy skin concerns, do a test. Try the problem solver and see how your skin looks the following day. Okay, so I go pretty close around my lips. I also sometimes get little breakouts around my lips, particularly when I'm not eating as well. Seems to show up there. And some of you notice that I also always mask my eyebrows. So don't be afraid to get a little bit close. You do, of course, want to keep this out of your eyes, both because of the exfoliating nature and because of the different herbs and spices and salts. It'll just tingle. But if you do get a little bit in there, just remember that the tingle and any kind of sting that you feel, it's coming from salts, it's coming from herbs. So it's like when you go swim in the ocean and a little bit too much water, salt water gets in your eyes, it can feel a little intense. It can be uncomfortable, but that's not unsafe. So there we go. Now my eyebrows will get treated too. Great. Okay. So right now I am in the camp that is feeling almost nothing. I have been doing the problem solver pretty regularly lately. My skin is feeling pretty healthy. I don't have anything major going on at this moment, and so it's pretty neutral. I do feel a little bit of tingle right here at the moment, slightly itchy, slightly tingly, slightly warm, but also cold. It also just feels like cold mud to me. So that's not not too bad. I'm going to leave this on and answer a few more questions. Okay, back into the acne and oily category. Is this only for when skin is struggling and problematic, or can it just be a treatment? Yes, you can absolutely use it both when there is something that you're trying to solve, but also it's just a wonderful way to take a time out and nourish and love on yourself. So if you're breaking out, if you're having any kind of inflammatory condition, if you are having congestion, if there's something in your skin you're actively trying to support, then the Problem Solver is wonderful. Go in 2 or 3 times a week. If you are just someone who has healthy, great skin, fantastic. I'd still love to see this in your ritual once a week as a reset, as a way to keep feeding and nourishing your skin so you don't get those problem times, right? The more we can maintain, the more we can feed in consistently, then we don't have those problems to solve later. So staying consistent with it, and then just the process, the practice of showing up for yourself and taking, just a few moments to mix and fresh activate these beautiful potent herbs and spices and apply them. There's an intentionality to this practice that I think is really, really valuable. So especially if you can, light a candle, turn on your favorite song, do something that feels really beautiful as you take these moments with yourself. And that time out, whether it's once a week, twice a week, once a month, whatever you can fit in, will feel more powerful and more beneficial for yourself. My teenage son has some normal teen pimples, so it'd be safe for him to have a mask once a week to help clear up his skin. Yes, absolutely. Problem Solver is so good for teen skin. And if you can get your teenagers into a weekly or bi-weekly treatment ritual, it's going to be so wonderful for them, just for all of their lives, to be able to show up and be in relationship with their skin and hopefully with you too. It can be a beautiful way to come together as a family in care for each other. How often should I use if I only have acne on my forehead? So this is an important point. You can always just spot treat areas that are problematic, but what I described earlier about when you put this on, and I can feel it right now, a few minutes in, it just starts to get more active. So there's the initial feeling at application, whatever that might be, whether you immediately feel tingling, whether you never do, whether it feels cold or hot. There's that initial feeling, and then it will change as the minutes go on. So for me, when I apply it, usually it just feels like mud. A few minutes in, if it's going to get hot, that's when it starts to get hot. I usually reach peak heat around 10 minutes. Stay with it if this is happening for you. Don't rush to rinse it off. Definitely don't reach for a washcloth to rub and scrub it off. If it's too much for you, step into a shower and let it rinse away. But I ask you to breathe first and stay with it first, because it will neutralize. It's going to do this magic on your skin that's pretty incredible. And it's only powerful like that for a brief period. But if you're rinsing it and scrubbing it while it's in its most active, it can be more uncomfortable. And then you're also never getting to the spot where it's neutral and it's moved through these different layers of your skin. So try to leave it on if you can. And then when it is time to rinse, go in your shower. I really can't stress that enough. When you put this over your sink and you're splashing like this, you're going to have a black, wet mess everywhere. It's terrible. Don't do that to yourself. If you step into the shower, this will rinse clean in seconds, just seconds. And it's so easy, and you massage with your fingertips and you get all in there and you get all the great benefits. So it's more effective as well as cleaner to rinse in the shower. So stay with it, whatever the sensation is, however much or however little you're having, just be with it. As it starts to dry, you're going to feel some areas of your skin less able to move. So maybe not the night to watch all the comedy unless you've wrapped yourself in a black towel. choose your chores. This is a good time to go outside and water the plants or wash dishes, do some tidying up. But as it dries, there is sometimes a little bit of fallout. So give yourself permission to sit still too. What if this was when you actually read, that first chapter of the book that you've been thinking about and not reading? Maybe you'd write that first chapter of the book you've been thinking about but not writing. Who knows? I was saying all that because this person asked, how often should I use if I only have acne on my forehead? And if you're only spot treating, you can spot treat 3 times a week. But what I would ask is that even if you're someone who has really pretty perfect skin, maybe just a little bit of a breakout here and there, instead of just spot treating when you're having those issues, show up every week no matter what and do the full face. So what I would say is at least once a week, do the full treatment, full face, full deal, full ratio, full strength. And then outside of that, you can add a second day, add a third day, add a fourth day if needed, where you're doing a blend. You could do the blend of the Honey Mud and the Problem Solver, or if you're just going to do spot treats, that's fine. You can spot treat 2 or 3 times a week. But in addition, do the full treatment as well, because that allows all of the blood flow to go throughout your whole face. If you're just doing a little dot on your chin or your forehead or something, you're not going to concentrate the blood flow in the same way as when you put all of the attention over this entire area. So I want you to see it's starting to dry. You can see the pattern. My neck is drying first. You're going to start noticing where the different areas show up. Sometimes this will tell you things too, where areas are drying faster than others. If you have different breakouts, you might see how that looks coming through on the surface. So just a good time to pay attention. You're not looking for anything in particular, just notice yourself. Somebody asked a question, will this help acne that has arisen from emotions? My daughter uses your products too. I just thought that was a sweet question. Skin troubles that arise from emotions are as valid as anything else. So on the physical front, yes, the Problem Solver will help you with breakouts that range from sources from environmental to product reactions to hormones, and certainly from all of the emotional flare-ups as well. Stress in particular, my skin gets pretty mad when I'm not resting enough, when I'm working too much, when I have too much time on screens, or when I've just let myself be on adrenaline for too long, trying to do too much. So certainly there's the physical component that the Problem Solver can address, but there's also the emotional component of what it means to actually come back to yourself on purpose, twice a day, every day, for the care of your own skin. And that's, for me, been one of the most beneficial emotional wins. I'm realizing we're getting to the end of our time already. That happened so fast. And I still haven't seen any questions, but, there's 2 questions on here. Okay. Not a question, but a request. Please add a nice measuring spoon to your site to purchase. Oh, I will. So the same people who made our beautiful little gold dandelion wand, I would love to have them make us a measuring spoon. But do you know, because we use real artists, real local artisan people and beautiful materials, I mean, this is $90. It's way over the top. I know that. And I just can't justify making a measuring spoon that would cost hundreds of dollars to make it out of gold for you. So I have some pondering to do there to figure out how to get you the measuring spoon of your dreams. But don't worry, I'm on it. That's what I get to do. I get to dream up all of the skincare dreams with all of you. So thank you for that question. I will get you something. I have some rashes on my neck. Can I use this? Yes. Try it. If something itches, if something's inflamed, if something is needing the kind of love and nourishment that you can imagine a really gorgeous herbal pack would help, put it on. If you want help, or if you're nervous, or if you want more steps, email us care@maylindstrom.com. Can you use the problem solver after you've exfoliated with the clean dirt? Yes, you can. It will be more intense. Just know that. So I like to do the clean dirt followed by the problem solver. If I'm feeling really congested, if I know there's a lot of dead skin to be cleared out, if I really just want it to be as effective as possible, and I know that everything is in a healthy enough place where I can go with a little more intensity. If that feels too intense for you, spread them out. Do the clean dirt on one day, the problem solver on a different day. Personally, I love to use them one day apart from each other, because right now I'm masking right now, and so I'm going to be bringing things to the surface that if I follow up with clean dirt tomorrow morning, we'll move that out and shed that out. Also, the reverse could happen. To make this masking experience more effective, I could do the clean dirt first and then come in with this to follow. So depending on what effect you're looking to amplify, you can reach for the honey mud, which can cushion it a little bit. You can reach for the clean dirt, do that beforehand, that will amplify it a bit. Lots of different ways to play there. Someone asked, does it have to be washed off in the shower or over the sink just as good too? Really, really please try to go in the shower if you can. If you need to do it at the sink, just know you're gonna make a mess. Just make it fun, turn on the music, know that this is a good time to wash your vanity after. Maybe you clean your makeup brushes as part of the process too. Find ways to make it fun so you don't hate me for the experience. Your skin is gonna do great. Just give it all the love, give it all the attention, pretend you're in the shower, be just as thorough. And when you finish with the problem solver, it's really, really important to feed all the hydration back in. So rinse in the shower. I like to use my fingertips, turn into the stream of water, just face into the stream, use the fingertips, rinse it all away, keep your eyes closed until you feel that all has cleared. And then on your wet skin, skip your towel completely, go directly into the blue cocoon. Don't just rinse your face and leave it dry. This is the opportunity to feed it back in. You've cleared everything out, and she will glow if you put all the goodness back in now. I did not get to everything because, wow, there's a lot, and there always is. And so just know this is an ongoing conversation. I'm going to try to show up here every week or as often as I can, maybe even more, who knows. So keep sending us your questions, reach out to us. If you want private care, individual care, care@maylindstrom.com, we've got you. Otherwise, find me here. I'll be here every week. We'll focus on a product. I'll answer as much as I can. I just love sharing this. It means so much to me to be able to talk to you like this and be in relationship with you as you come into relationship with your skin. So thank you for being here. I'm gonna let this dry for a few more minutes. You can see I'm getting closer. And then I'll be done too. I'm off to start my day. Thank you, everyone.